Hi, friends. Welcome to Soaring Through Chaos. And it's a joy to be able to have these shares almost every day, especially during one of the more challenging times for all of us as a collective, the pandemic. And there's so much going on in our lives. Some of us are affected by healthcare issues, some are affected by job losses, some are affected by California fires, and a lot of things are happening almost all at the same time. And amid all this, there's a need for going deeper and seeing what's my life about. And every once in a while, I run into people who ask such questions. And one of them is my friend here, Renu Sharma. And we became friends because she regularly asks these questions. So, Renuji, I have found that your questions are very deep and meaningful, and you're not expecting an answer, but you ask these questions on a regular basis. What prompts you to ask these questions on social media like WhatsApp?
When I started, I did not have any specific objectives in my mind. I was sharing a book with someone, and the person could not read the book. So I shared a few pages. So he read, and then he said, yes, it was very much relevant. So I thought, why not I share a snippet, because people generally don't have time. So when I started sharing these snippets, then I started, to ask questions also, to make them think about it. I actually don't expect them to answer, but if they read and if they can reflect on it, that suffice. And that's
Yeah.
what, like, it makes me also, I have to read, I have to think so that I can write this post on Wednesday.
And it's once a week, is that right?
Right. It's once.
Sometimes the questions you ask, they stay in my mind for a whole week. And sometimes I answer, and sometimes I just think about and I start writing an answer. So it's really a self inquiry that starts happening with the questions you ask. And I mean, how did these questions come to you? I mean, that's great that it started with a book, but I'm sure you had this habit of asking these kinds of questions to yourself, or somebody asked you questions perhaps.
When I started writing these snippets, so generally these snippets will stay in my mind, and I'll keep thinking, how can I, what kind of inquiry can I generate with this? What can I ask? What can be my message with this, with these snippets? So generally they stay with me for a week or so, and then I'll think about the questions that will go with that snippet. So then I add, so that makes the message more powerful. That inquiry, and how can we make use of that information in daily practice? See, there are a
Yeah,
number of books written, but how to translate that concept into daily practice?
exactly. In fact, you asked these questions for a long time, probably one per week. I don't know, maybe hundreds already, isn't it? Maybe a couple of
Yes.
years.
By chance, this is happening just after 1 year. I started writing them on, I think, 21st August was the first message. 21st August 2019. So just completed 1 year.
So let me ask you a question then. Among all these questions you asked, where did people resonate the most? Where did people start, or where did you resonate the most? Which one is your favorite question?
All of them. Different people respond differently. Generally, questions around fun, playfulness, silence. I guess they resonate more. But it depends on the person also. So some
Can you
people
give any
respond.
examples of something that people like? So those who are listening right now, they would also probably ponder over it. Is there any question that comes to mind that you could ask to the people who are listening to us right now?
Okay, yes, there was one about exercises, and taking your hands up in the air. So normally we don't do it. So I asked them, like, when was the last time that you raised your hands above your head Earlier we used to pluck fruits, but now we don't do it. So when did you do it last? So that, that no one really thinks about it in routine. We don't think like whether we've raised our hands above our head or not. So that was one I remember very well. And then one about refrigerator rights.
Tell us about refrigerator rights.
Refrigerator rights is people who are familiar, people who are close to you, they can only open your fridge and get whatever they want.
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't give these refrigerator rights to anyone. I mean, they have to be special people. Not everyone can come and open your fridge.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Those who can, they are really your close friends.
Never thought about that. Never thought about that.
Yes. And nowadays that number is decreasing. Not many people will come and they have this liberty to open your fridge. So refrigerator rights. That's another one. I was just thinking of compiling all these messages in one PDF book to share
It
with.
would be a really nice book to read. It's like some friend of mine from Stanford suggested that I compile these videos that I'm recording for Soaring Through Chaos, and they suggested that they would publish it. So that would be a nice little book, because there's a need to bring things together, and it's a beautiful series that you have, and you've done already 50 of them, and hundreds of responses probably, from various people resonate to various things. Tell us a little bit about your profession, or what kind of work do you do? Because it seems to be in some ways related to the self-inquiry that I'm seeing in you.
I'm a consultant with the School of Retail and Fashion Merchandise, and I'm with the Footwear Design and Development Institute. It's an institute of national importance. My work there is to teach, and I teach soft skills. So when we do soft skills, so it is not only language training or just getting dressed up very well. We try to go deeper. We try to work on the roots. So that's where the inquiry comes in as to how to go deeper, how to connect with students, and then to learn about new concepts also. For example, recently only I got to know how powerless communication is so powerful. We generally talk about confident communication, powerful communication. But then, the recent concept is, yes, powerless communication can also be powerful when you're trying to push your ideas through. So that's how like my job is related to more inquiry and more learning.
That's very interesting. Can you give an example of a powerless communication that is powerful?
Yeah, when you try to share anything new, anything innovative with your group. So if you say, I know this will work, and this is my idea, this is gonna work, and please, you project it confidently and with dominance. So others may not be so open to taking the ideas. It becomes like a zero-sum game. So if they agree to my idea, they lose their their pride, their ego. But if I present it in a powerless manner, for example, I think this idea may work, I may be wrong. In that case, they are also safe. And probably they'll be open to my idea. And in the beginning, you can just introduce your idea in not so dominating manner, but in a slightly powerless manner. Then the idea gets across.
So it's shared as a personal communication, as an I statement. This is how I feel about this. And perhaps you may want to consider it rather than listen to me, I'm right. So
Right.
Very interesting. So I mean, instead of using the military style, we're using more of a collaborative answering a question or problem solving or a friendly communication approach. That's what you're talking about, huh?
Right. And again, I mean, quite a number of times when we feel we feel confident, we put our ideas across as if, all others don't know anything and I'm the only one who knows everything. Then it becomes like, where people start fearing you,
Yeah,
where not feeling insecure. So
yeah,
if you respect them, respect their opinion also, they also know, but this is my idea. And when you add, okay, I can be wrong. So that way you also save yourselves. Like it may go wrong. I'm putting this idea. Then, then they become more open.
and that's so powerful, giving people the space to accept or reject, and um, it's just another option, and then people can choose the power of choices.
Right.
The simplicity of it too. There's no jabardasti, as we say in Hindi, and there's no tension or pressure or compulsion to adopt that. And were you always like this? Did you grow up being a collaborative person, or did you go through any life changes that led you to be who you are today?
Lot many. And I still am work in process. I guess all of us are. We continue to evolve. So I also evolved. I started my journey as a probationary officer, then
Oh,
worked in export house. Then I wanted more flexibility and entered into academics. And I never wanted a full-time job because I used to value my freedom a lot. And then it so happened like this institute, they said, okay, fine, you take up this assignment. If you don't like, you can leave. But then I stayed back. So they gave me freedom within this job. And of
uh-huh.
course, through all these changes, I also changed. I
Wow.
guess, I mean, be it collaboration, be it working on distractions, learning from others, meeting people like you.
I know we literally met on a group for the Learning Society Sun Conference. It's a group of
Right.
people who like to learn with each other. So we've not yet physically met, but we met online through social media, and particularly the idea is to create learning environments where there's no dominance there. There's people collaborate together, get together, and share what they've learned, and others are at choice whether they want to learn it or not, and they can unlearn things that are not serving them as well. So you have been to an LSUC annual conference, the annual meeting. What was
Yes.
your experience like when you went to the Learning Society Sun Conference meeting?
Fortunately, I attended the Sun conference just before the lockdown. So,
Yeah,
and it was an amazing experience. I mean, kind of unbelievable. Like, how can so many people be together? So many people, thinking about learning and such a wide perspective. Normally, you go to conferences, you have these conventional pattern. There is no structure, but still there is so much discipline and so much learning. And it was amazing. And then lockdown happened, so all those people I got to meet in unconference, I could get in touch with them. I could play with them. I could
wow.
interact with them. So in fact, I could relate to them more. So
Oh, because it
it
happened right after, I think it was in March, the
right.
unconference. I couldn't be there because I was heading to Korea. And so I experienced my lockdown in Korea, later in San Francisco, later in Mexico, and now we're here in India again. So, and so
You
you
carried more
got,
perspective.
sorry?
So you carried more perspectives of lockdown.
Yeah, unexpectedly so, because I was actually deciding to travel around the world. And wherever I would go, Corona was right behind me. And then it came ahead of me. So then I had to stop and be there in Mexico for 3 months. I learned Espanol and learned cooking because the person who was cooking for me, she also contracted the virus. And so automatically I learned really good cooking, Indian, Mexican, and Thai. Now the basic, so I can actually survive on my own and don't have to go out to eat. So yeah, the gifts of the corona. So my question to you is: the lockdown has changed so many things. A lot of your work is face to face, soft skills and all that. How are you able to do that under the current restrictions or the social distancing norms?
Uh, I cannot meet my student face to face now. I have to have my classes online. But even in online, there are now tools, and if you plan well, you can interact well. In fact, on Zoom, it's easier for students to interact in close groups. Like it's easier for me to form groups, and they can interact and they can talk more to each other in groups. So that is a plus point of online classes. Plus, students from different campuses, like we have campuses all across India. So students from Kolkata, students from Fursatganj, Noida, all of them can be together in one session together. So yes, one thing is I miss out on the fun that we used to have in face-to-face interaction. That's there. But yes, now it's been 5 months, and we have all adjusted to the online mode. So we've found out ways to have silence in our classrooms, have more movements in the classroom, which was probably not possible when they were face to face. So now they feel safe if we are doing any movement, any dance also in the class. So they have this option of and the space of they can switch off their video and then they can do the movements.
Oh, nice. So you give them the freedom, the option to uh, turn their face off and do whatever they little things they need to do. No need to ask permission. That's cool. And so great. I mean, one of the things I'm seeing everywhere around us, a lot of people are anxious. A lot of people are going through a lot of pain for real reasons, whether it's job loss or it's somebody sick in the family. How can they also participate in a positive way as you are? Do you have any suggestions for people who are going through hardship? Because you've been a soft skills trainer, you are doing work now online. Do you have any suggestions on how people can find meaning in their life during these challenging times?
Yes, I can offer some suggestion, but all of this will be more of contextual. So we are all facing this issue, but all of us are in different boats. So my boat and your boat can be very much different. Some of the suggestions can be what I feel is cut down on the negative information. So a lot of information, lot of news. When you read the stats, Corona this and Corona that, probably cutting down on the negative news is one thing that helps. Then second, there are a number of things that we cannot do, number of things where you are restricted. But if you focus on the things that we can do, despite all the hardships, despite low resources, you will find there are a number of things that we can do. If you focus on those things, that helps a lot. If you focus on the possibilities of things that can be done, activities that can be done, people that we can sit with, people who can share our grief, that helps a lot. And then counting your contributions. Even during lockdown, you can contribute a lot. You can share your gifts, you can share your knowledge, you can share information, quality information with someone else. And then doing these contribution and making account of these contribution, that makes your day more meaningful, and that makes you more grateful also. So writing down your contributions at the end of the day. So cutting down on negative, focusing on what you can do, and then counting your contribution.
Oh,
These are
thank you. And as you correctly said, there's so much contextual. We cannot give a one size fits all. But even that perspective that so much is possible is helpful. And often we forget that when we are in the when we get caught up in the storm and things look hopeless. And as you said, the news media in particular likes to highlight things that are going wrong so that it can help people. But then we all get overwhelmed with it. And personally, now it's so interesting. You started off, if you had been a probationary officer, you'd be doing the command and control thing, I guess. Instead, now you
right.
chose to have the freedom and the flexibility. Do you see yourself, where do you think you'll go next? Or would you continue in this mode of having that flexibility and serving people?
I want to move towards more of community learning now. I still am in a formal education system where you have a career path and everything is built around that career path. But I would like to move more towards community learning. So where we build up community and there is more of community interaction, where a space where anyone can come and offer learning, anyone can come and take learning. So as more and more people who are generally non-teachers, if they can come in this learning space. So that's what we have just started building that space.
And did you start it in a physical location like New Delhi, or did you start it online? What kind of space have you envisioned at this time?
At this point of time, we are thinking of online sessions only. In future, let's see how it goes. So we haven't created a big plan as such. So we are just starting small. Like the posts, they are small, bite size. So we are starting with we'll be testing a prototype this Wednesday.
I would love to join. And if people want to get in touch with you about what you're doing and how they can participate, please share the links if they're for public and any work you're doing. And again, I'm always curious to know what's going on in the world. And Renu, it's such a gift to be able to even ask you these questions and understand where you're coming from. Because I was like, every week there's this intriguing question. And some of these questions haunt me, as in, they really ask me, what's my life about? And I'm like, who's this Renu? And I have no idea. So that's why I said, let me talk to you and also share your wisdom with the whole world. Do you have any things you want to share that you haven't yet shared with the people that who are listening about how to lead a meaningful life and how they can keep on learning, and anything we want to talk about?
First, I would like to ask you which question resonated with you the most.
Oh gosh, very good question. I don't remember. The reason is that I get a lot of messages, but I can tell you one thing. Usually, this is what happens, and that's one reason I actually let go of many WhatsApp groups, because there's so much traffic, right? But most people are sending statements like, this is the right, this is the best thing. Corona medicines, there are so many thousands of messages. Drink cow's urine, or drink Clorox. All kinds of suggestions on how to get rid of, corona in 1 minute. And the scientists say they don't yet have a medicine. And I mean, all the affirmative or declaratory statements that were coming my way, there came these maybe perhaps questions which gave the optionality of choosing to answer or not answer, to hold on to that question. And that I appreciated the most. I don't remember any specific question that stood out, but I do remember one thing, that these questions stayed with me longer because of what you alluded to earlier. There was no like, you better answer this question in so much time. It was like, here's a question that's being posed. So here's a little story that's being told. And that gave me because I had the choice, I felt compelled to think about it. So, and that's the reason I said, who is this lady? And I want to talk to her and find out what makes her ask these questions and where are these questions coming from? Is it from a book or is it from a, and now I know that it's probably from a future book that may happen. So that's so good to hear. So that's so wonderful to hear. And yeah, any other things that you want to share with people?
I would like to share two things with others. First, get bored. Get bored. Take out time for getting bored. So don't occupy each and every minute, whether it's taking mobile phone or talking. Take out some time when you are actually not doing anything. You are just getting bored. So that helps you a lot. That will help you appreciate whatever you have. Because you are rushing and rushing. If you don't sit down, you're always, you always want to occupy your time. You feel, as if you're losing something. Then you start doing something else. But you are losing the moment. So you're losing the present moment. If you get time for reflection, if you get time for getting bored when you're not doing anything, believe me, you'll be more grateful. Because then you'll have time to reflect about things that you have. Plus, it will also give you a time to sort out the chaos in your mind. So that is one. Embrace boredom. Get bored. Find out time when you don't have earphone in your ears or you have mobile. So get bored. At least 15 to 20 minutes every day. Believe me, you'll cherish this time with yourself. So have some conversation with yourselves. And number two, be playful. Be playful. Don't be so serious. Life is teaching all of us. Teaching is coming. Life is there to make us learn so many things. But we need to keep ourselves open to life. So be playful. During lockdown, I found number of opportunities to play, and I have regular playmates now. So I now take out time for playing. So Saturday I take out 2 hours for playing. So it involves.
Can you give some examples? What kind of dance?
Yes, so I do this interplay workshop where I have playmates. So we dance, we talk in gibberish, we create crazy songs, we play with our breathing. And another one is Gameathon with Manish Freeman. So there we play games. And I also got into recording game ideas. So we are trying to spread a culture of playfulness all across.
Wow. I must talk to Manish. I've been leaving him voice messages and emails about sharing this whole idea of playfulness.
And I would love to be called as Vice Chancellor of University of Shararat.
University of?
Shararat. Mischief.
Shararat. The University of Mischief. That's amazing. That's amazing. And please, if you're coming anytime to Gujarat, let me know. And I'm sure if I have to leave the country, I'll be going to Delhi. So I will definitely let you know, and maybe we'll meet face to face. Right now, we are meeting Zoom to Zoom. And it's such a joy to be able to even converse and learn from each other. And again, to people who are out there, this has become my hobby to be able to learn from each other. Initially, I was talking to people who I've known for years, decades. And then I was like, but there are some people who make me think deeply, who make me feel deeply, who make me play, who make me sing, even star maker friends, who make me sing. And there are people who are, TikToking away and in 15 seconds trying to create an impact. Again, another form of play. So I think it's great to be able to have this forum. So please keep it going. Let's make it two-way or multi-way and share with each other. And you know where to find me. I will give you my pointers again. So please stay in touch. And thank you again, Renu ji, and we'll be in touch.
Yes, and keep playing.
Keep playing.